Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Press Play. I'm your host, JJ48, and last week we finished up the original Legend of Zelda and successfully saved the princess and restored peace to Hyrule, so tonight we are going to be starting Zelda 2. Before we get into that, though, I would like to read a little bit of a quote from one of my favorite books, The Hobbit, by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now it is a strange thing, but things that are good to have in days that are good to spend are soon told about and not much to listen to, while things that are uncomfortable, palpitating, and even gruesome may make a good tale and take a deal of telling anyway. I felt this quote is might be rather relevant tonight, uh, in that we've seen as we played through The Legend of Zelda, it was a bit of an uncomfortable, gruesome experience for Link, and yet it did make a pretty good tale. Unfortunately, we've killed Ganon, reduced him to ashes, saved Hyrule, restored peace. It's seeming like, good for the people of Hyrule, but might not make for the best sequel of a game. So, just a little bit of a warning as we jump into things. This might end up being a rather short, boring game. But let's start, as with the previous one, by looking at the instructions. And I'll post a link in the chat uh, as well as in the YouTube comments. Let's see. And let's see where the sequel to The Legend of Zelda takes us. Okay, so at the end of a fierce fight, Link overthrew Ganon, took back the Triforce, and rescued Princess Zelda. However, is it all really finished? Many seasons have passed since then. Hyrule was on the road to ruin. Okay, maybe not as peaceful as we thought. The power that the vile heart of Ganon had left behind was causing chaos and disorder in Hyrule. What's more, even after the fall of Ganon, some of his underlings remained, waiting for Ganon's return. The key to Ganon's return was the blood of Link, the valiant lad who overthrew the King of Evil. Ganon would be revived by sacrificing Link and sprinkling his blood on the ashes of Ganon. So right away, even after beating the bad guy, rescuing the princess, things still aren't going great. Meanwhile, Link remained in the little kingdom of Hyrule and lent his hand to its restoration, but circumstances did not look very good. One day, a strange mark, exactly like the crest of the kingdom, appeared on the back of Link's hand as he approached his 16th birthday. The worried Link went to Impa, Princess Zelda's nursemaid, who was shocked and frightened when she saw the birthmark. When she regained her composure, she took Link to the North Castle. Okay. There was a door in the North Castle called the Door That Does Not Open. Only the descendants of the Impa family who served the king knew how to open the door. Impa took Link's left hand and pressed the back of it against the door. There was a sound of a lock falling open. The door slowly creaked open, and there, on an altar in the middle of the room, lay a beautiful woman. So I'm thinking it sounds like this should be called the door that only opens under very specific circumstances. But I digress. Here lies Princess Zelda, Impa began to speak calmly. Link, the time has come when I must tell you the legend of Zelda handed down in Hyrule. It is said that long ago, when Hyrule was one country, a great ruler maintained the peace in Hyrule using the Triforce. However, the king too was a child of man, and he died. Then the prince of the kingdom should have become king and inherited everything, but he could inherit the Triforce only in part. The prince searched everywhere for the missing parts, but could not find them. Then a magician close to the king brought him some unexpected news. Before he died, the king had said something about the Triforce to only the younger sister of the prince, Princess Zelda. The prince immediately questioned the princess, but she wouldn't tell him anything. After the prince, the magician threatened to put the princess into an eternal sleep if she did not talk, but even still, she said nothing. In his anger, the magician tried to cast a magic spell on the princess. The surprised prince tried to stop him, but the magician fought off the prince and went on chanting the spell. Then, when the spell was finally cast, Princess Zelda fell on the spot and entered a sleep from which she might never awake. At the same time, the magician also fell down and breathed his last. In his grief, the prince placed the princess in this room. He hoped that someday she would come back to life. So that this tragedy would never be forgotten, he ordered that every female child born into the royal household shall be given the name Zelda. That seems to be needlessly confusing matters, but okay. From the stand next to the altar where Princess Zelda lay in a deep sleep, Impa took 6 crystals and a scroll with the same crest and handed them to Link. For generations, my family has been handed down these things, which have been set aside for a time when a great king will come. They are written in an ancient script that no one can read now, but you who have the crest may be able to read it. It is said that the key to uniting the Triforce is hidden there. Now it is time for you to read it. Link glanced at the scroll half in doubt, but what do you know? Although he had never seen the letters before, he found that he could read them as if they were talking to him. This was written on the scroll. You who will control the Triforce of the future, I shall hand down to you the secrets of the Triforce. There are 3 kinds of Triforce: power, wisdom, and courage. When these 3 are brought together, the Triforce will show its maximum power. Of the 3, I have left power and wisdom in the kingdom, but the Triforce courage I have hidden for a reason. Not everybody can use the Triforce. It requires a strong character with no evil thoughts. But an inborn special quality is also necessary. Unfortunately, I have not found such a person during my lifetime. Therefore, I have decided to cast a spell on all of Hyrule. A crest will appear on a young man with that character who has been brought up correctly, has gained many kinds of experience, and reached a certain age. But what will happen if someone else uses the Triforce before then? If it is misused, it will produce many evils. The Triforce of Courage is hidden in the Great Palace in the Valley of Death on the largest island in Hyrule. However, to enter there, you must first fight the Guardians and undo the binding force. When you have defeated the Guardians, which I made to prevent enemies from invading the 6 palaces in Hyrule, set a crystal in the forehead of the statue you find. When you have set crystals in all of the statues in the 6 palaces, the binding force placed on the Valley of Death will be removed and you will be able to enter the Great Palace. There you must fight the last Guardian, and you can obtain the Triforce only by defeating that Guardian. There's nothing to fear. You are the one to get the Triforce. You are the beacon of hope for Hyrule. Impa implored Link, who raised his head slowly after reading the scroll. The magic spell cast upon Princess Zelda will sure to be broken if the Triforce is used. Please, Link, unite the Triforce and save the princess, and bring back peace to Hyrule. Again. Link nodded silently in approval and left the room after taking a long glance at the altar. Then, with a magical sword in his left hand and a magical shield in his right, he set off alone in his long travels. At that time, Ganon's underlings were calling up new allies from the underworld and were beginning to work devilishly towards the revival of Ganon. Okay, so that sets up our second adventure here. So this Princess Zelda that we're trying to awaken this time appears to not be the same Zelda as last time, who we've already rescued. And once again, we are going to be going into dungeons or palaces or levels that where we're appearing to fight guardians put in place by the royal family, not necessarily minions of Ganon. So let's jump into the game and we'll take a look at the starting screen and see what we have. All right. Let's reset, get back to the title. Okay, and right away I think this music sounds a little bit less dark than the opening title of the last game, probably because we've already achieved one heroic deed. And let's see what this summary ends up being. Do like the music in this one. After Ganon was destroyed, Impa told Link a sleeping spell was cast on Princess Zelda. She will wake only with the power of number 3 Triforce sealed in a palace in Hyrule. To break the seal, crystals must be placed in statues in 6 well-guarded palaces. Link set out on his most adventuresome quest yet. And again, we see the summary kind of leaves out a bit of the details. Looking from that, we would not be able to tell that this was a different Zelda, or that the whole 6 palace thing is basically a test for Link. Let's see. No sound is coming from the game. Let me see. Let's see. Do you hear it now? I'm definitely hearing it through my headset. Okay, let's see. Well, that's not good. Okay, how about now? Okay, so now you can hear it. Alright, sorry about that. Alright. So I think we can hear enough of it now. Again, just seems a little bit happier, or not happier, but less dark than the first one. And we'll jump into the game. Whoop. Okay. All right. So here's the Princess Zelda, the new Princess Zelda, or rather the very old Princess Zelda, who we need to wake up from her nap. And this room with the door that never opens is incredibly large. So right away, you'll notice the game plays a little different. When we were in the palace, it was kind of a side view. And when we fight monsters, again, it's on the side view. When we're on the overworld, that's how we move around. This is... I want that. Thank you. And this also has a little bit of a leveling system to it, that whenever we kill monsters, we end up getting some experience. And when we get certain amounts of experience, we get a chance to raise our stats a little bit. Okay, here's a town. Welcome to Hyrule. Sorry, I know nothing. So, up at the top you can see our stats. From left to right we have our attack, our magic, and our life. So getting experience there is able to raise our life a little bit, which means that we will take less damage from enemy attacks. And then over on the right side, that's how much experience we have and how much we need to get to the next level. So this is already a little bit different, that people live in towns now rather than just in random caves. Return the crystal to the palace in Parappa. Okay. I was planning on returning all the crystals to all the palaces. Thank you. If all else fails, use fire. Not really sure what you mean by that, but I'm sure we'll find out later. This lady... Please let me help you. We don't really need her help at the moment, but if we were low on life, she would give us more. There's also a similar one who will give us magic. Only the hammer can destroy a roadblock. And what's this lady? Talk with my father before you go, or before you leave town. People have very tall roofs in Hyrule. Oh. Each town has a wise man. Learn from him. LSD hippie, no, it's not my first time playing. We're playing through for the story, so I'm trying to get as much of it as possible for people who might not have played it before. So what we're doing here is every town is going to have a wise man who can give us a magic spell. Use this magic to survive. And here he gives us the shield spell, which will reduce our damage even further. One thing I noticed compared to the previous game is these people all talk much more coherently than the people in the first game. Presumably it's because these people live in towns and actually socialize with each other. Get candle in Parappa Palace. Go west. Alright. And we'll also notice that there's a bunch of roads in this game that while we're on the road, we won't be attacked by monsters. Once we step off the road, monsters try to attack us. I'm assuming that the Princess Zelda from the last game is absent in this one because she's busy trying to fix up Hyrule. Before we go here, we can see in the cave it's all dark right now, although if you look closely to my left, you'll notice some movement that indicates that an enemy's right there. It was on the ground in case you missed it. That can be... It is possible to get through caves without lighting them up. We won't end up doing that, though, for too much longer, because people who do speedruns do that, and it's very effective, but it does make it a little less interesting to watch if you're not familiar with the game. These bubbles would hurt me and knock me back and send me into the instant death water if I were to run into them. Come on. Alright. Very out of practice here, so I apologize if I end up getting a lot of deaths. Another difference you may have noticed is that when we started, it actually told us that we had a certain number of lives. I believe this is unique in the Zelda series for having set lives. All the other ones, just when you run out of life, you start... Yep, there we go. You're a speedrunner yourself? Yes, that's... I've watched some people do especially the randomizers, and it is very impressive being able to watch folks. I know that I do not have that talent myself, but it's definitely impressive when you know enough to at least understand what the speedrunners are doing. So up here we have Parappa Palace, and have the pillars with kind of faces on them. I'm not sure if those are supposed to be red glass in the windows, or if something's burning outside. It is a little bit nerve-wracking, though. Yeah, that's not the word I'm looking for. Discomforting. Alright, I forget what the these hopping guys are called. The skeleton there was a Stalfos, which we had met last time, or last game. These are bots, I believe. The blobs. Irritating with those guys. They don't give any experience, but they will take some if they hit you. The bubbles can be killed, but it takes a lot of hits, especially at attack 1. So we're not going to bother. Just attack them to stun them and then move past them. Didn't stun them quite long enough there. Okay. Alright, we're going to see if we can nab. I think it's a key on the bridge. Nope, it's a key bag. Come on. I'm forgetting the name of this guy too. I'm gonna have to, sometime this week, I'm gonna have to look up, try to remember what the names of all these Zelda 2 enemies are. Didn't I? I must have. I already used the key that I got, that's right. We're gonna have to go get another one. Doom Rattler, was it? Okay. I know the blue guys that throw hammers are the Doom Knockers. There's a key. Yeah, I always get my timing wrong on these guys. Yeah, there. Okay. Oh, I'm on my last life too. So, we will probably very shortly get to see the game over screen. I don't know why I didn't need to pick that up. There we go. Might as well grab the ferry right now. And once again, just like in the last game, we do see that Link shoots beams from his swords when he's at full health. I say as I immediately lose some health. At this point. And to LSD Hippie and any other speedrunners who might be watching this, I do apologize in advance for any aneurysms you get watching me try to navigate this game. So I just picked up the candle, which we were told to get from the palace, and what that's going to allow us to do is, when we go through the caves, they will be lit up, and we'll be able to see what's inside them. Which, if you're playing through this game as intended, means that you end up with precisely one cave that is dark, and then the rest are lit up. Although I guess you could do some exploring beforehand, trying to go into some of the other caves. And we'll pick that up. In the unlikely event we make it to the boss, we will probably be wanting to cast Shield. Yep. Alright. Okay, here we go. Okay, attack will go up, that's good. One of the things that was important that we wanted to get our experience up before we end up gaming over, because just dying doesn't lose your experience, but if you game over, then your experience gets set back to 0. And especially if we're very close to getting a level, that can be very frustrating. And fortunately, see, these are iron knuckles. Not to be confused with dark nuts, despite the fact that they're mostly don't appear in the same games and often serve a similar purpose. Okay, and here's the boss. Shield is probably meaningless at this point, because I'm pretty sure I'm dead if he hits me. Yep. Yeah, I know there's the jump and crouch stab method of fighting iron knuckles. I am just really bad at the timing on that. I've never been able to get it down. So, we'll have to go back. No experience for those guys. And here's that thing that was on the floor earlier. See, the cave is now all nice and lit up. Normal stab's better than a crouch stab? Maybe I'll try it. If, I'm pretty sure game overing means that they're coming back. You might notice, since we've leveled up our attack, the Stalfos are going down in just 3 hits as opposed to, I forget what it was before, like 5 or 6. Fairy back. Oh. If we needed it, the fairy did return as well. Okay, that didn't go too horribly. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay, thanks, that is a little bit easier. Okay. Now we'll try round 2 against this guy. Who I think has a, I think he has an official, like actual real sounding name, but in guides and everything just see him called Horsehead for rather obvious reasons. And we're close on experience, we'll just go ahead and set it anyway. Alright. Life up, and next we will end up getting our attack up. And so now, because we have beaten the boss and gotten the item out of there, or not beaten the boss, because we set the crystal and got the item out of there, the palace has been turned to stone and we can no longer enter into it. Seems like a bit of unnecessary magic on the king's part, but I'm sure he had his reasons. I'm planning on doing the second palace first, I believe. Come on. Because I don't think I need. If I did. know if I did Death Mountain first, I'd be able to go to Mito, get the down thrust, and which is always nice. Earlier you can get it. My main thing is I am terrible against Dairas, and I want to be as strong as I can be before I get them. So in this cave, we just found the trophy, which will be useful later. If we get attacked by enemies on the path, we're safe. I'm trying to remember, I think there's a cave south of the palace here. I forget what's in it. Yeah, the orange ones aren't too bad. It's the red ones that always get me because I can never get the timing right on their throws. Oh, here we have a magic container. Let's get more magic. So I have to wonder if the king long ago gave power, left the Triforces of power and wisdom in Hyrule, but removed courage. Does that explain why Ganon's forces had such an easy time taking over the place? Because there would have been no guards with courage. Right, this is the town of Ruto. Okay, now get our health filled. It's Error. If you ever see anybody reference Error from Zelda 2, now you know where he is. And this lady. This is the lady who wanted the trophy that we found. And she's happy that we returned it, despite the fact that we never said we would. And he'll give us the jump spell. I don't know that we've had a chance to see it yet, but the numbers indicate how much magic it uses to cast each spell, and as we get a higher magic skill, those numbers will go down. Use keys in palaces they're found in, or any other palace, because I'm pretty sure keys are not palace locked in this game. Do not go south without the candle. Okay. Well, we have the candle, so we will go south. Work on my turning skills. In case the boomerangs weren't enough to tip off, these are Gurias, or Gurias. The same as the boomerang throwing monsters we saw in the first game, and you gonna fly, buddy? This way? Okay. I think this is a ferry. I don't need a ferry at the moment. Good. There's a cave blocked by a boulder that we can't get through unless we until we get the hammer from Death Mountain. Okay, I think I'm not right. I always hated these spiders. No, not this one. Here we go, this is what I'm looking for. Bagu is my name. Show my note to Riverman. Okay, Bagu just making demands of us right after we meet him. I don't know that I want to go into Death Mountain right away, but I would like to go grab the spell from town down here. And this is the water town of Saria. Eyes of Ganon are everywhere, beware. Oh, we're in the middle of town. What could possibly happen? Oh. I found a mirror under the table. That is one of the only lines of dialogue Link has had throughout the series. And this lady, we found her mirror. Again, we just find people's stuff and they automatically assume we're going to give it back to them. Which one? The house with the open door and a huge table in it? With a mirror underneath? Alright, so we got the life spell. That'll be useful for keeping us alive. Or this one that has a lot of very ornate windows. Let's see what's this over here. And once again, we do see the Zelda tradition of with the moblins and the spiders, that the Blue ones are the spiders that were up in the treetops, at least. The blue ones were tougher, or are tougher than the red ones. And for some reason, orange is the weakest of them all. I don't think we really had... I mean, we had orange enemies in the previous game, but they didn't really fit in with the color scheme. Or maybe it was red that was introduced this time. Alright, so again, we have boulders blocking the way. Can't cast life just yet. If we kill one more thing, we should get... Oh, or if we just grab that. Our attack will go up. Great. Almost dropped my controller for some reason. So... Now these guys go down in one hit. One thing I notice as we enter the second palace here is we have different pillars in here than we did in the first one. And not just because these ones drop drip poison or something on us. Bot throwing off my timing. Stop. The unicorn dragon heads have a pattern that can be pretty easily dodged if they're the only thing you're facing. Unfortunately, they're often in rooms with other enemies or pits you have to jump or other obstacles that mean you can't just fall into the rhythm easily. The blue Stalfos, not only stronger, they also will do the jumping down stab move, which can make them quite a bit more dangerous, especially at lower levels. I think there's just dead ends to the right in here. Yeah. We did get a key. Let's check upstairs. Hopefully we only need the one key. you have the top of a pillar and no pillar? Alright. Need to be careful here because that's instant death lava. And the enemy's knockback is not helpful in this cases. Very close to our next level here, which I think was going to be magic. Oh, okay, it's tall enough I can just walk underneath them. Now I'll take a magic level. If we chose not to take the magic level, we would keep our 700 experience and just start working towards the next level. And there's people who have strategies to... oh, this is not good. Got there. People who have strategies being able to figure out what the optimum way is to do that, usually focusing heavily in attack until late in the game. I tend not to do that for two reasons. One, I'm going to end up using a lot more life and magic than those people will, so those levels... and again, I don't have a key. So those levels are still very important to me. And two, I've found that whenever I try skipping a level, I often end up dying shortly after and losing all... that was not nice. Losing all my experience, so I tend to just take the levels as I get them. That way. That way might be the boss. Well, this way is death. I'm rethinking our plan of not going into Death Mountain first, because if we get the hammer first, it'll be a much shorter trip back to Alice 2 each time I die. And we'll be able to get down stab, which makes life much easier in general. Yeah, didn't even need that. Also, every time I hear the fairies tune, I can't help but think it sounds like beginning of the McDonald's jingle. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Swamp, find a handy glove. Oh, that's talking about the palace. No, we don't have it. Oh, this lady's gonna give us magic, restore magic, which then lets us cast life. In woods north of river. He is telling us how to find Bagu, who we already found. And apparently Bagu's name pulls considerable weight in this town. Showing him the note will get us across the river. Okay, I'm going to try to see if I can remember my way through Death Mountain. These parts are easy because there's just one cave. When we get to some of the later ones, we'll have to try to remember which branch to take. This is exactly when I wish I had upstab. I think I stayed. Yes. I think it's this one. Yes. See the red those rhinoceros-looking guys are called Dairas. The orange ones just swing an axe at you that you can't block. The red ones actually throw their axes. You can't block them, and they hit very hard. So red Dairas, not much fun to hang out with. This guy's honestly not making me feel too much better. I think the red ones are called bits. Don't see too many of them. Whoop. Okay, so I think this cave is where we'll be able to pick up the item from Death Mountain. Alright, good. Life goes up. That's very helpful. I still do have one life left. Just let this thing fling itself off. Probably gonna die here because I'm pretty sure there's a red Dyra just before the item. Oh, and we got it. Good. Okay, so we got the hammer, which will let us break boulders on the overworld, which opens up a few caves for us, as well as letting us move around a bit more freely on the roads that were blocked by boulders. Well, that was an unpleasant surprise. Get out of here without game overing. Although if we can't, I think it'll be a little bit easier to come back. Wait a second, I do have life. Okay, we killed that guy before, so he's not coming back. Good. So, see, we can get rid of the boulder with the hammer, and in this case, fall down a pit and get more magic. Good. Yeah, the 2D kind of platforming element of the game, I think, always appealed to me when I was younger. I liked The Legend of Zelda, but this one always just seemed a bit more adventurous, I guess. And I just wanted to come over this way, kind of see. It seems odd. There's just a graveyard sitting over here. never been down this way before, because usually I'm following strategy guides, and this is a time to explore. In case you couldn't tell, the little jumping things are supposed to be Octoroks. Look a little different from the previous game, but still same idea of going around shooting boulders at people. Getting a little better at fighting those guys. And holy cow, what happened here that we have so many graves? Notice that the towns themselves take up one tile. So this cemetery would be like the size of a state. Alright, here we are at the harbor town of Mito. Yes, please heal up the wounds. What's in here? Ask Error about the palace. Okay, we might end up doing that. Is this the same kingdom as the last game? Yes, this is still Hyrule. A little bit of a different view of it. So when you jump, press downward to stab. Instead of an old man, we have a swordsman teaching us a new technique. So this is still Hyrule. I'm not sure where these palaces were during the previous game, since they were built hundreds of years ago. They would have been somewhere. Oh, excuse me. But just a second. Your daughter is sick. What do you want me to do? I am not a physician, lady. I'm sorry. I guess if your daughter's sick, you know, might be desperate enough to just accost random strangers and demand that they help, but it's not going to be terribly helpful, productive. Let's see what's in this cave. I have down stab. I can. So, yeah, for those who weren't here when we were going through the instruction manual, this is the same kingdom. It is a different Zelda that we are rescuing, though. This Zelda was put into an enchanted sleep hundreds of years ago, and her brother, the prince who presumably became the king, was so distraught that he ordered that all females of the royal line be named Zelda from that point forward. Hence why every single princess since then has been named Zelda. Alright, attack goes up. That's good. And yes, I also like the music in this game. I'm trying to think. I don't even know that it was I don't know if it was the same composer or not. I don't know if Koji Kondo did this music. They clearly... The music seems like it's definitely supposed to be reminiscent of the first game, but at the same time, it's different, and I don't even think they reuse any of the same themes. I will say in particular, the palace theme here is one of my favorite pieces of music in the whole series. This is a dead end. I think most of the right ways are dead ends here. Let's see. We already explored to the left. Dead-end room, so there should be a key in it. We'll definitely for next week have to read up on the enemy names though. I was gonna have the manual open to look some of them up, but unlike the first one, the manual only gives a sampling rather than listing all of them. still have to be careful even with down thrust because we can end up bouncing right over enemies, bouncing off of enemies right into pits and whatnot. But it does make it a little bit easier to move around when we can just do that. Bubbles a little bit easier when we can hit them at the right angle. Hopefully this room will be kind to us. Okay, good. Yes, okay. I would be very irritated if, once again, came into here without a key. And we picked up the glove that we were told about. So we got the item. Now what the glove does is it lets us break these blocks. So that will also be rather useful for getting around palaces. Probably gonna die pretty quick here, so glad we went and got the hammer. Oh, great. Yeah. So because we got the hammer, we can now take a shortcut back to the palace. Let's go talk to Error since we're over here anyway. Which meant that I probably should have just gone north instead of... yes, in the opening, let me recap the opening for those who joined a little bit later. We were told that hundreds of years ago, there was a king who... Well, there was a king who died, and he left everything to his son, except for one of the pieces of Triforce. He apparently didn't trust his son with all the pieces. And he told his... Okay, south of King's Tomb in Mito is a tunnel. He told his daughter, Princess Zelda, that the final Triforce, the Triforce of Courage, was being guarded in the Grand Palace, or the Great Palace in Death Mountain, or Death Valley, and that there would be 6 palaces with guardians set up to test anybody who wanted to try to obtain it, they would have to go to the palaces, beat the guardians, and set a crystal in the statue of each palace. So yes, once again, the palaces were explicitly set up by the royal family. Rather than being like strongholds of Ganon's minions or anything like that. Which presumably, to me, indicates that the enemies inside the palace, for the most part, are probably guardians. Or they're part of the tests. Whereas we're also told that Ganon's minions are trying to kill Link to revive Ganon, so presumably those would be the enemies outside the palace, or outside the dungeons. Palaces. Get my terminology mixed up because they keep changing it from game to game. Yeah, I forgot that we had the glove. We don't want to be stabbing the blocks. We need to be careful when we're. Still takes 3 hits to beat those guys. I think we're just going all the way to the bottom here. Curious how much experience these guys give if we actually do manage to kill one. Just 50. Not worth it. Okay, I'm guessing we need to go this way first to get a key. Why do you think the game designers chose Link as our adventure rather than Zelda? For this game, I think it's probably because the Zelda from the last game, as far as we can tell, seems to be the only remaining member of the royal family. I mean, Ganon seemed to be in control of everything, and we only rescued her. We didn't rescue, like, the king or queen or anything, so I think Zelda is probably busy running the country now, or the kingdom. In fact, I think that's why we have towns and roads in this game, is Zelda's probably working on getting everything organized and structured as a kingdom should be. Leave Link to do the stuff like go explore the Valley of Death and try to get Triforce of Triforce of Courage back. Okay, let's see. Don't have enough to shield and jump. I think this guy was just called Helmet Head. I promise there are some bosses who don't have head in their name. Some of them will have other weaknesses. Remember, did anybody notice, did we pick up medicine or water of life? I think it was probably in one of the caves that we went into. Yes, it would have to have been, because we need to give it to the lady for her sick daughter. Unfortunately, items like that and the mirror and the trophy don't show up in our inventory, so don't have any way of checking if we already got them unless we either go talk to the person or go back to the place where they're found. Water of life. Alright. Again, didn't say I was going to give it to you, but since it's for your sick daughter, I guess I will let you have it. This magic word will give us power. The fairy spell. This is King's Tomb, and we were told to go south of King's Tomb by error. Yes, the magic spell gives Link power to turn into a little fairy, whose only ability, well, two abilities, can fly, which helps us in places where we wouldn't be able to jump, and it lets us fit through. We can go through locked doors. So if we find ourselves without a key, we can fly through. And once again, we have yet a third style of columns. So I have to give it to the king who designed these. It really is kind of nice having not having every single palace just be a copy of the others. Come on. Wow, I'm not getting good bounces on that guy. He's only 100 points anyway. Ah, didn't mean to do that. I almost wish there were a way to turn off the gloves sometimes, but... Okay, I think we want to go... It is possible to make that jump either from below or from the left without using the jump spell. It's rather tricky though. It requires a bit of a running start, I think. Not a huge fan of the leopard heads personally, but... Let's see. Hopefully we can get... Oh, that's not what I want to do. thing. Yeah, we're probably going to game over before we get a chance to level up again. There we go. Okay. This is... Okay, we have time for a couple more tries. I'm loving it. Let's see, we didn't pick up the raft yet. Oh, good, these guys. One of the downsides with using the fairy spell, though, is there is no way to turn back into Link without going to a different screen. Or if you die as a fairy, then you restart the room as Link. Which means if there's anything that requires you to stab it, like getting through the block walls or anything, you have to do that. You can't turn into a fairy and then do that in the same room. Funny. For some reason I can't get the rhythm of that guy. I actually do have the my Z1 playthrough on YouTube. It's it should be on my Twitch channel. There should be a link to my YouTube channel, and I have a press play playlist there. Just in case, when I finish the stream, I'll make sure to post a link in chat, in the Twitch chat, just in case. Let's try going this way first. Yeah, see, this is one of the rooms where we can't turn into a fairy because there's walls on both sides. before Iron Knuckle learns that a suit of iron does not help you swim in lava. Not like the blue Iron Knuckles. Ah. Okay. Well, the jump visor technique does work better than the try to fight them the way the game intended technique. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I grab this before. Ow. Dude, that was not nice. So now we have the raft. We can cross... well, first we can die. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the second sword technique, which will help us a little bit to avoid some unnecessary fighting. Yeah, see, we didn't have roads like this, or civilized towns or anything back in the first game, so I think this is all Zelda's doing, working on getting Hyrule's infrastructure going. Alright. First I can come down here. I can get a spell here. This is Nibiru. With boots, I could walk on the water. Dude, I'm wearing boots, and it does not help me walk on water. You are crazy, man. Hello, Thirsty. I am Link. Pleased to meet you. Seriously, lady, the well is like right outside you. You are one of the most hydrated houses in town. This magic will make your sword shoot fire. So we do have. We were told before, when all else fails, use fire. Essentially, some enemies are immune to just our normal sword stabs. If we use fire, it will strengthen our sword and let us get past those immunities. I don't think it actually strengthens our sword in the sense of allowing us to take down enemies in fewer hits, though. See a man in Darunia before the islands. That's exactly what I was planning. You know, for servants of Ganon, these guys seem to be doing pretty alright for themselves. Just living in town, have their own houses. Find heart over ocean. Okay. So see, these enemies... my sword won't do anything against them, but the fireballs will. So, I'm not really interested in trying to fight them at the moment. I'm more interested in just making it to town and getting the skill that we need. And there's the levers making a return from the previous game. Come on. Yeah, I don't really want to do it, but I almost proved that guy wrong earlier because I'm wearing boots and it would not let me walk in that water. Or on that water. Right here we have the mountain town of Darunia. Apparently mountains mean the sky is purple. Just an empty house. Okay. Also, one thing I don't think I touched upon, just a second. Another knight who's going to give us another sword move. Oh. Okay. So, it doesn't look quite as impressive as the down stab, and it's not as popular, but it has its uses. So one thing I don't think I mentioned during the when we were reading the manual is it says that Link let's see what this lady has to say. Rescue the kidnapped child. Okay. Powerful knight. Yeah, it's so powerful. He learned how to point his sword up. In the manual, it tells us that Link is approaching his 16th birthday at the start of this game. You know, when these events are starting to unfold. We're also told that many seasons have passed since the first game. Which makes me wonder just how young was Link in the first game? So at least a couple years older than someone setting off alone on a Pokemon journey, I guess. So I don't know if I should be more impressed that a 12-year-old was able to save Hyrule, or see there's upstab in use, or more disappointed that apparently the Royal Knights and Guards and everybody weren't able to accomplish anything close to what a 12-year-old was able to do. But again, I guess we're forgetting the Ancient King did hide away the Triforce of Courage, so the Royal Guards might just not have had the courage to do what they needed to do. Yeah, it does seem odd that he's quite that young. I mean, I guess Nintendo has a history of this, or this game far predates the other examples I was going to give, but you know, the Pokemon games, at least in the early ones, the protagonist was 10. But at least there, even though you know there's danger, there's at least not the, you know, there's the danger of a 10-year-old going out in the world all alone, but they're not expected to fight against, you know, an ancient or a leader of a powerful enemy army. You know, the whole Team Rocket thing was kind of on accident, or just, you know, being in the right place in the right time. Here it's, what was it? 'Cause in the first game it was Impa went out to find some help for Princess Zelda, comes across a 12-year-old and says, "Hey you, go rescue the princess and save Hyrule." We're told that the Impa family is, you know, part of the, you know, those guarding and protecting Hyrule. Based on her track record, I'm getting the feeling she's just kind of winging it at this point. Wow, I am not doing well against this guy, am I? I should probably just jump over him. Much easier. Got everything there was to get that way. Alright, now I'll show what we needed upstab for. I want to see if there's anything down this way. That's not what I wanted you to do. Well, that didn't work. Okay, so we are going to have to fight the one red knight, but getting the blue knight out of the way was the main purpose of that, and we showed that that will work. Well, though actually, it's getting about 9 o'clock, so I better wrap this up. Especially because that's not the final pals like it was in our previous stream. So, tonight we did look at the backstory of this. It is going into a bit more depth in the story than the first one was. So you can definitely see that the the world of Hyrule is starting to develop a bit more, and we're starting to see a little bit more. It's starting to get a little bit more of its own. The games, I mean, are starting to get a little bit more of their own character, rather than beyond just the kind of generic fantasy setup that we had before. So, if you missed the beginning, you might want to go back and watch this once, either on Twitch or be up on YouTube. And apart from that, I guess I will sign off now and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good night, good week.